everyone, my name is CJ. Welcome to another episode of CJ Hair Talks in the Car. I'm happy you're here. Now let's get started with the conversation. Okay, so today we are going to talk about reducing tension. Now, the other day I was watching an episode, I would just say episode from, her name is Razor Chick, I think. She's based in Atlanta. Lovely lady, and she is doing an awesome job trying to really help to encourage people who have hair loss, and she encourages them to start with their own hair. And in one of her consultations, in one of her classes, as she was speaking to the client and kind of find out more information about their journey and what happened with her hair, the client explained about really having severe hair loss and not really knowing where to go or what to do, or she was willing, and she would say, I would be willing to pay, but then I don't know who to go, and who I go to. The recommendation is not something really to help with my hair. So this is where she's at. So she was struggling with just having that severe tension that has happened over time, and the result is major hair loss. So I really wanted to jump in to have a conversation because I think tension is really a big thing when it comes to healthy hair journey and how that can be affected, how your healthy hair journey can be affected. So I really want to zone into that, because if we're serious about transitioning and having healthy hair, we need to know the things that we need to avoid so that our hair has the opportunity to really flourish, right? So, in the end of the conversation, as she explained to her that because you wore so many protective styles that were not healthy or, well done for you, and you not knowing what to do, you've had this experience, and she encouraged, said, I am going to cut your hair down, but I will encourage you to go to a trichologist to get more information on where you are, and then kind of work your way up into finding ways to kind of get your hair back, right? So tension is just a form, it's so subtle, because when you start it at the beginning, and because I'm from the Caribbean, right? And we do cornrows all the time, and they always say if it's not tied, it's not right? So if your braids are not neat, that always comes with tension, because you're being so detailed when you're doing your cornrows, and your hair strands are going to pay for that style. And so for days, sometimes you'll have headaches because your hair is just so tight, but you don't take it out because you like the hairstyle. There was a point for me where I remember going under the shower and just soaking my hair, hoping that it kind of relieve the how tight it was. That it didn't really help, but I wanted to try something. So I wanted to share that it doesn't start right away. Like, tension is going to be a huge problem over time. So it's not going to start like exactly the same time when you do your hair, and from say you start from an early age, or even when you start in adulthood and you're going to a salon and you're doing your hair, right? Tension does not, the effects of tension does not happen immediately unless there's a severe circumstance. But as in regards to like traction alopecia, it's caused from tension over time. Severe tension over time. Tension over time transitions into like traction alopecia. Now, traction alopecia is associated with tension, right? So I say it's over time because it's not until sometimes for people it's years of doing braids, years of doing tight styles, years of wearing tight sew-ins, and because if you wear sew-ins you have to braid your hair underneath, or if you wear a wig you have to braid your hair underneath. Whatever style you've done that has required you to do a tighter style or a style underneath, or braiding, or cornering your hair tightly, that is the beginning of the tension journey. And so over time, consistently, if you keep doing these styles, it looks so great initially, but what's gonna happen over time, your hair, your strands are getting weaker. Your strands are already so fragile, right? So just picture you or someone, not even you, like you go to a stylist and consistently there is tugging, there is pulling, and then there is tightness, to get the style. Over time, it weakens your strands and your follicles as well, because what happens is it's gonna eventually take it out of the root, right? And so it's damaging your scalp because there is so much tension holding on to the hair strands, right? And it's for a long period because you're doing your hair and it is like that. Sometimes your hair is tied for quite a bit, right? And so many people have struggled, and that's what Razor Chick was really sharing, because this was happening to so many people. So many people are experiencing hair loss. So many people, and hair loss as it regards to traction alopecia, right? So anything where tension is or heaviness is, because that's another thing too. I would say reducing tension. If there's a style that you're putting in and it is heavy, say you're putting in big braids, or it is heavy on your hair, that's not a good sign. People sometimes wear crochet braids and they wear 5 to 6 to 7, 8 packs of hair on your head. I don't think you need to do that, but anything that is heavy on your head is going to affect it over time. And so that's what happened. Doing something consistently over time, the results are going to show whether it is good or bad. So if the action that we're doing is on the wrong side, then the repercussions of those actions will come, and that's where your hair gets affected, right? Okay, so here's some key points for you to kind of zone in. Now, as I said, hair loss and the effects of tension happen over time, and sometimes we miss it because we're not observant. Sometimes we see it, but we're not thinking it's gonna get worse because we're not really knowledgeable of the process or what's going on. But a lot of times we start to see those different signs. So I would say we all have to start being observant. Know your hair, and when you begin, it really is a thing of us caring about our hair, because if you start caring about your hair, then you kind of want to make sure everything is working well. So if you see where hair looks like it's missing, or you kind of can roll back to say, okay, what did I just do? Did I just do a style? Was I too harsh? Did I comb too harsh? You can start peeling back to say, okay, what did I do? Why is this here? Because remember, everything happens over time. All right. So a great way, we can't roll back the clock. We can't change what has happened. But what you can do moving forward is start paying close attention to tension attention to tension. Yes, but really start zoning in to um zoning into how how you take care of your hair, or whoever is taking care of your hair, and if tension is involved. And if tension is involved, for the sake of your hair, for the health of your hair, you will have to begin to reduce it. And if it's someone that's doing it, you have to let them know that they no longer should be doing that. If it may mean reducing or stopping that style, that you're doing. If you're doing that braids or cornrows all the time, if that's the one that's affecting your hairline, or your hair, and your hair is breaking, we have to do a switch. Find something else that is conducive and that will work. So being observant is one of the things, because that will help you to realize that something is happening. If you start seeing your hair receding and there's hair loss and your edges are going, it is an indication that something has been happening over time, and there is need for you to find out what it is and make a switch, right? I've seen people experience hair loss and are able to come back to having their hair at a healthy state, but it's going to take a switch. We can't do the same thing and expect the same results, okay? And so, I know it's embarrassing a lot of times, and I know hair loss thing is really, really something that we try to really run away from and to cover, but we have to see where it is. If we see that tension has been involved in this process, there's something we can do about it. There's absolutely something that you can do about it, okay? And I would always share, when I used to do crochet braids on my customers, my clients, one of the biggest things for me was always making sure they were always comfortable. If I did a hairstyle, if I did their braids, I would always say, how are you feeling? Everything okay? Is this tight? Does this feel okay? It was super important to me to make sure that doing their hair was not painful, because I wanted their hair to grow. I wanted them to have this time where they're in their protective style and their hair is resting, but it is not having to deal with being, there's tension and just being uncomfortable. I never wanted that, and that was never the philosophy that I held on to. And I was really happy that I was able to, to continue that trend for the duration of the time that I did crochet braids. So yes, I've seen it, and I will encourage you. I'll encourage you. Please. I know you may like the style, and I know you may look so sleek, and putting up your hair and consistently putting up your hair in a sleek ponytail, or doing your braids and doing your tight, your cornrows and those tight weaves. I know those are so neat and nice, but don't let it be to the detriment of your crown, your hair, your gift. Don't let it be too late, right? Don't let it be that you can do something now before it gets at a worse state. It gets worse, right? Yeah, so that's my encouragement. So let's focus on that. In these talks, I give little nuggets for you to take and to implement into your hair journey, and I try to really zone into the essentials, the things that matter to us in our natural hair journey, or our natural hair journey. And I hope that you can take these nuggets and really, use them to, take your hair journey to another level, a better level, so your hair can truly begin to flourish and, blossom. All right. So Have a great one, and yeah, talk to you on another episode, okay? Bye bye.